Hi friends, let's do makeup. It's Vanessa. All right, I'm gonna start with, I already rinsed my face off and I sprayed some toner on it. I'm gonna start with a little eye primer. This is one that I've had for a while that I like. If you have any questions, you want to know anything that I'm using, just comment, and if I don't see it when we're doing this video, I will check back after later on today and I will reply to your comments. If you want any information about anything, just say, you know, makeup or what was that eye stuff or whatever you want to do. All right, I'm going to start with, I have a little bit of dark circles. I have a couple of little blemishes. I'm going to take a color called Mango, and it would normally be, it would be way too dark for my skin all over, but it's great for counteracting dark circles. Anything that has a little bit of blue in it, a little bit of red in it, even purple. So we'll put that around my nose too because I'm pretty red there. I'll just put a dot there. I'm going to end up having to go back over that, I'm sure, because that one's pretty dark. Okay, so I just start with that, and then I just kind of let that sit in there and get warm so that it spreads easier later. So I'm just going to put a little bit of eyeshadow on. Super easy, light. My eyeshadow brush, I just cleaned all my brushes, so they're all beautiful and clean for you. I'm just going to take a light all over color, this one right here. And I'm just going to get that all over. Starts as a good base. And then I'm just going to take another really light color. If you have any questions, like I said, about what colors or what I'm using, you can just comment makeup. Or if you want to be more specific, you can say, you know, what was the second eyeshadow color you put on or something, and I will let you know. Okay, so I just put that a little bit. I don't want to get too dark up there. I think I'm only going to use 3 colors today, so I'll just be on my eyes. I'll just be super easy. Sorry, I stuck some in my eye, I think. All right, so one more. Let's do, I'm going to use the other end of my brush. Let's do, I always do this one. It's probably one of my favorites. Yeah, I'm going to stick with it. Just a little dab. And because I have heavier eyelids, I just want to show you how sloppy you can do this. I'm going to just put this right above my crease instead of right in my crease. And I like to do it with my eye open so you can see if it disappears. Then I need a little bit more right there. So look, I just blobbed it on. It's totally not fancy. But I'm going to take that fluffy end of the brush. And this is called the windshield wiper if you just go back and forth. Now I'm not going all the way into that corner. I'm just kind of staying in this area. But I'm just lightly blending it. And then you can kind of see how it just blends, but it lifts, and then when I open my eye, you can still see it. Whereas if I would have put it directly in my crease right there, it would have completely disappeared as soon as I opened my eye. So, windshield wiper, blend that. It's easier to blend eyeshadow colors together when you have that light base color on there. So that very first color that I put on, even though you probably thought, well, that didn't really do anything, it looked like the color of the primer I already put on, because it's a powder, it made this powder easier to blend with it. I got a little bit more right there, so I'll just put a little bit there. Now for ease, we can actually use the same brown and put it in my eyebrows. So let's do that. This is a brush that I love. It's called the Multitasker. So I like to use this side. I'm going to use just that same color. I actually could go darker, but let's say I just wanted to have a few things in my compact. I could really use this color to fill in my eyebrows. I could use it for a little bit of eyeliner on my bottom. And I like this brush because it's got a little bit of a stiffer end on it, so I can still kind of do a wing if I like wings. Even when I'm not really doing my makeup fancy, I like a wing. So this one's easy to use. Yeah. See, I used it for eyeshadow, I used it for eyeliner, and I used it to fill in my brows. Same color. Of course, I could do more, but I'm not really doing much today. So there's no sense. It's not like I'm getting ready for work or something. All right. So I think I'm done with my eyeshadow. I'll go back and do mascara later. So now let's go on to our foundation. With this, the foundation consists of your highlight color and your contour color. And together that makes your foundation. So I already put that little bit of color under my eyes to kind of counteract my redness. And now it's gotten warm, so it's blended in a little bit better. I'm going to use the less fluffy side of my B squared brush. I love this brush. It's called B squared. It stands for blush and bronzer, but I like to use this side for my foundation. I notice on a little bit more mature skin with some wrinkles too, it just kind of presses in there nice. So I stipple my makeup on. Some people will swipe, but I notice if you stipple, it just kind of gets it to blend in and melt a lot easier. So right now I've been kind of mixing a couple of colors. This one by itself is a little too dark for me, so I dab into that a couple times, and then I come over here and I dab into this one a couple times. And this one I'm going to put on the lower part of my face, actually kind of around the edges, I guess is a better way to describe it. So just dab, 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 dab. And then I'm kind of stippling it in. I'm not swiping it around, but you can already see that the coverage that I get from that. And you barely use any. It's a light dab. I also don't swipe into my makeup because I notice I use way too much of it. And then I'm just trying to blend it away. You can layer this makeup though and get a ton of full coverage if you want that. And for photographs, I always do a lot more too, especially with blush and eye makeup. I'll almost do it where when I look in the mirror, I go, ooh, that looks like a little bit too much. But that's perfect for photographs because the flash of photographs tends to wash that out. So I'm just going to get that off. My nose is kind of red, so we'll put that on there. I like to use a couple of different highlight colors, which is this lighter color of foundation. So I mix those two together. Now I'm just going to use the lighter one of those two, and I'm going to put that right in here and brighten up around my eyes. Now don't worry too much about that darker color that we put there. I'm going to use my finger and dab that on later. I like to use my fingers around my eyes a lot just because the warmth of it gets it just spread. And always use your ring finger. It has the lightest amount of pressure. So if you're gonna rub your eyes, if you mess with your eyes, try to use that ring finger. I'm getting a little delay there. All right, sorry, I swiped in my way. So there you go. It's pretty nice and blended. If you feel like you don't want to blend that much with the brush, you can dampen your perfector sponge. Dampen it really, really well. It needs to be squishy like this, but you don't want it dripping. I already squeezed this one out. And then you can blend your foundation. But I'm going to put my contour color on first, and then I'm going to blend them both at the same time. So I'm going to grab a different brush. This one I used to do that little bit under my eyes. The other end of it, though, it's nice and flat, and I love to use it for contour for my cheeks. So let's grab, this is a newer contour color. Let's grab this one. It's called Astoria. Works on almost any skin tone I've used it on. So I just like to find right where my cheekbone dips in, right under there, and just get that in there a little bit. And same thing, I kind of stipple. I'm not a swiper. Sometimes I feel like if I swipe, I either get too much or take too much off, one or the other. But you can see instantly how that has defined my cheekbones. You want it to look like a shadow. Contour is very different than bronzer. So if I was wearing my hair up, I may wear a hat, I don't know. But you can contour. See the difference there? It just kind of took away how bold my forehead looked there, but it gave my face a little bit more shape, and it brought the attention back to the eyes, which is usually a good place to focus your attention. I think most people have beautiful eyes. In fact, I think everybody has pretty eyes. I don't know that I've seen anybody that their eyes are not attractive. The window to your soul, right? It's all your expression is in your eyes. So see how that just kind of gave me a little bit more chiseled look. Now I haven't blended it all in, so it still looks a little shadowy. You can go ahead and take some of this down here. I like to kind of disguise those little gels right there. And you can define your jawline. And then just bring it down a little bit so it blends in. You can also use this on the side of your nose. So I like this brush because you can squish it together. So you can contour your nose a little bit. When you contour your nose, everybody's is going to be a little bit different depending on what you're trying to bring out or diminish. I think the goal for everybody, though, is that you want your nose to look thin. If it's already thin, great. But see how I have this side is a little bit more bulbous, so I tend to put more of the dark right there. But look at the illusion of that. It already narrowed my nose. From the side, you're not going to notice a difference, but when somebody's looking at you straight on, and that's why when you contour your nose, you always want to be straight on also. So again, if you guys have any questions about what I'm using, why I'm using it, where I'm using it, just comment makeup, or if you want to be more specific, go ahead. But if you don't comment, and I can see the people that watch the video, but then sometimes it doesn't show me all the names. It just says 48 people watched your video. And so if you want to know something, you kind of need to throw me a comment so I know that, because I don't want to just inundate anybody that doesn't want to know or already knows the answer. Okay, so there's that. Now this is when I generally will take my perfector sponge and, sorry, I stepped my hand, and blend it. So it's already dampened. I like to take the pointy side and just press that in. And I always do kind of the lighter, where I put the lighter color first. Okay, and then I flip it over and I kind of push up a little bit. We don't want to drag this contour down. We don't want to look like you have a 5 o'clock shadow, or the whole point of makeup is to be uplifting, perfecting, but I don't want to look like I have a ton of makeup on. And then just dab that in a little bit. There. So really now I can take my lighter color again and I can just dab and conceal that a little bit more. So I'll just show you. I'm just going to use my finger. And I'm just going to put it right in here. Now I don't want to go right up to my eye. Back in the day, all the makeup companies that I worked for, or the makeup that I used, concealer was kind of one of those things where you stuck it from here all the way up to the line of your eye. But what that does a lot of the time is if you're lightening this, it automatically makes below it look darker. So if I just kind of conceal that area that I'm dark and not worry about this as much, it's much more brightening. And I don't look like a raccoon either. So I'll take a little bit of that, put it around my nose. Now I'm going to spot cover some things, but I'll tell you I've noticed that it's easiest to do that at the very, very end, after my setting spray and my powder and even my blush, because otherwise I can take it off with my powder or my blush. So I usually do that. And then I will spray my setting spray. I'm not using the SPF one today because it's just really cloudy outside and I'm not going to be hanging outside too much. So a couple sprays of that. This will get it to set into place and hold better. And then I just like to kind of pat it in really, really lightly. You can wait until it dries. I'm just impatient. So I pat that in. And then if you wanted to powder, I don't think I'm going to powder today, but if you wanted to powder, it's up to you if you want to do it now or you want to do it after you're done with everything. I tend to do it now and then I'll put my blush on top. For some reason, I feel like it doesn't take as much of my blush off either. And all of these are cream. So they're not powders, they're creams. The eyeshadows were powders. So let's just throw on some cheek color. You can use these on your lips too. You can use them on your eyes too. You can kind of use them everywhere. So I'm going to grab this brush. I'll use this side of it. And let's just put something a little bit more nude on. Let's use this one. It's called Nude. And I'm just going to get that a little bit more in the apple area. And if you get too much, let me put too much. Well, that wasn't it. If you get too much and you don't feel like you can blend it out, you can take your perfector sponge and you can just dab that and it will blend it out really nice. This is great because if you get too much foundation on or anything, it will lift off the excess and blend everything. So there, doesn't look like I have too much on now. So you could use this on your eyes if you wanted. You could dab into it and put it on your lips, so that everything kind of ties together. But really, that's it. I'm going to take and I'm going to spot cover just a couple of these so you can see. This is where I'm going to go back and I'm going to mix my darker color with my lighter color. You don't want to use the fully light color because light brings things out. Dark recesses things or recedes things. So I just like to use that same color and dab it on there. And then I pat it with my finger again, lightly with my finger, but the warmth of it just gets it to kind of blend in and spread better. So there's that. If I felt, I think I already got my nose, but I could always put a little bit more there. Yeah, I don't really see anything that's jumping out at me. Yeah, so I think that's pretty good. And then really, you can put illuminator to give yourself some highlight. That's kind of an optional extra step. I am going to curl my eyelashes and put some mascara on. And then I think that's all I need to do. I'll probably brush my hair, but you guys don't have to watch me do that. I'll be putting it in a bun anyway, I'm sure. So what are you guys doing today? Do you put makeup on your days off? I only do if I'm going to run some errands. If I'm staying home, I don't. So, I know a lot of girls wear false eyelashes or get those eyelash extensions and they're so pretty. I use a lash growing stuff and that seems to do a pretty good job for me. I just don't want to spend the extra time going every few weeks to get lash extensions, even though I think they're beautiful. And then putting on false eyelashes, to me, that's something that I would do for a special event. And when I'm doing brides makeup, I always want to put lashes on them, photo shoots and stuff like that. I think lashes are great because they show up, but there. So really, that's it. I'm done. I know I spent a lot more time than you guys might, but when I'm talking, I always take longer. But yeah, see, it's just a nice soft, I don't feel like I'm like made up, but it looks natural. Everything blends. Yeah, I love this makeup. I love the way this makeup makes me feel. And it's so nice and dewy. So this is the thing. If you don't like that dewy feel, that's definitely when you would powder. They have a setting powder, so you can take you can use any brush for anything in this set, and they're all double-ended. I love it. But yeah, you can press in. Let's use this side. Sorry, there's some fuzzy on there. So if you wanted to set anything, this brush is nice and flat, so it presses it in there. And I always say this is a setting powder, a pressing powder. It's not meant to be dusted. It's not like a translucent dusting powder. It's really meant to be pressed in like that. So you can take the shine away if you don't like that dewy look. I've been liking it. I also use another powder that's a translucent, and I'll take my, there's nothing on this now, but I'll just pat mine in like this if I'm doing all over, and then I can put blush on top of it. You can use another coat of your setting spray. If you're really oily, this Stay Spray is great to use before as a primer, in the middle of your makeup, and after. You can really get your makeup to set forever. So that is something I use a lot more for when I want longevity in my makeup, or I'm doing a photo shoot for somebody, or wedding makeup or something like that. But anyway, I think I'm done. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions about anything that I used, or the company itself, or really anything, I don't know. If you want to know where I got this hair tie, I'll tell you. Comment below. All right, have a beautiful day.